All right, this is the practice probe over the linear equations. Is the SPI 3.2. All right, let's get started on these. What I want to do is I'm just going to work each one of these. You only need to really watch the ones that you missed. That's all I want you to watch, and just work back through them. And of course, you'll do the discussion board to get some credit back on your daily work. But here, the first question is, which equation is equivalent to 2 times then 3y minus 6, which equals 5, then y plus 2. And if you look at your answer choices here, it's not really asking you to break it all the way down. It's asking what's equivalent. So I've got to look and just, what is my first step? Well, I see that I have parentheses, and I see that I have a number right outside those parentheses. I want to make sure that I actually go ahead and distribute, get rid of the parentheses, get rid of them. And when I do that, I just simply say, okay, 2 times the 3, that's going to give me 6y. Then I say, okay, I've got to distribute to every number in the parentheses. So I say 2 times negative 6. Look at the sign in front of it. So 2 times negative 6 would be minus 12. Bring down my equals. Now this time I do the exact same thing. I just want to get rid of the parentheses. Okay, so 5 times y gives me 5y. And then 5 times a positive 2. That's plus 10. Well, now if I look at my answers here, I have this solution down here, 6y minus 12 equals 5y plus 10. Well, that's equivalent. I don't need to go any further because it's all about process. Here's what you have to be careful with. Make sure you're paying attention to those negatives and positives because they have the answer choices for those. If you just miss one negative or one positive, it's going to have that answer, but it's the wrong one. So just be careful on this one. All right, number 2. Which equation is equivalent to negative 8, then x minus 4, which equals 6x? Again, if you look at your answer solutions, you don't even have to work this all the way down. You're just going to have to distribute. So negative 8 times x, negative 8x, and then I say negative 8 times negative 4. I have two negatives. Two negatives are going to equal a positive. So negative 8 times negative 4 plus 32 equals 6x. Okay, I'm just going to look down here to see if that option's there, see if I need to take it any further. Well, I get negative 8x plus 32 equals 6x. Well, I don't need to go any further because A is going to be my solution. It wants to know, again, process. It's not always about the final solution. It's about the process to get there. So here, I look at my answer. It's A. Again, pay attention to the negatives and the positives. Alright, now number 3. A linear equation shown below. 10w plus 19 plus 3w equals 6, then 9 plus w in parentheses minus 14. This problem is a bit ugly, but it's not near as hard as it looks. It looks like it's got 20 different things going on here. Just follow your order of operations and you'll be just fine. So let's actually work this down and see what we come up with. I'm going to be using a couple different colors. Again, I always want to draw my line of scrimmage. I want to separate these two equations. So now I have 10w plus 19 plus 3w, all on this side of the equal sign. I want to ask myself, is there anything I can combine on this side? Well, I look and I see 10w, and then I see plus 3w. They're the same, so I can combine them. You've got 10w plus 3w, 13w. Now, can I do anything else to that side? All I have left is a positive 19. Just going to bring that down. Again, now I'm going to go to my other side. and work it and see what I can do there. And it's just like the other problems we've been working on 1 and 2. I see I've got a chance for to use the distributive property here. So I'm going to say, okay, 6 times 9, which is 54. And then I say, okay, 6 times a positive w. So 6 times positive w plus 6w minus 14. Now I have everything I needed to do. I've combined my like terms as far as the first go around. But then I look again, I'm going to go and draw my line of scrimmage here, and I can't combine anything else on this side. I've done everything, all the combining I can do. Can't combine a number with a variable with a number. But now let's go to this side of the line of scrimmage. I have 54 plus 6w minus 14. Well, I can do something there. I can combine my 54 minus 14. So I can say 54, again, and I look on this, I look at the sign in front of it. 54 minus 14, well, that's going to be 40 plus 6w. And all I'm going to do to this side is I'm going to bring everything down just to keep everything in nice, neat rows. That way I don't get anything mixed up. Again, there was nothing, I didn't do anything to this side. I had combined everything that I could combine. Now it's just a matter of solving for w. So if we look at this, now I need to get w by itself. That's my variable. It doesn't matter what variable it is. I need to get solving for what w is. So when I'm looking on this side here, it's easier, I find it's always easier to try to get that variable to the left side. Can't always do it to the left side, but I'd love to get it on the left side. It just makes it life a lot easier for you. Alright, so if I want to get by anything by itself, I want to do that first. So I'm going to look over and I see, okay, 13w on this side. Now over here I have a positive 6w. In order to combine that, again, if you remember from earlier in the year, if I'm going to move this across that line of scrimmage, I have to do the opposite. I've got to get this side to 0. So I'm going to subtract 6w from this side. And whatever I do to that side, I've got to go right back over here and do the exact same thing. And see, that gets that to 0. It's going to cancel out. And now I have 13 minus 6. And I'm going to get 7. So I have 7w, because I can combine these because they're the exact same thing, plus 19 equals 40. Now what I've done is I've combined, I've got my w to one side. Now I can continue to solve for it a lot easier. So in this case, the next thing I've got to do is get rid of this 19. So if I'm going to get rid of this 19, again, I have a positive on this side. I want to move it over because I want to eventually get w completely by itself. Minus 19. If I'm going to subtract from that side, I've got to do this exact same thing to this side. Leaves me 7w equals 21. Now I'm real close to solving this problem. All I have left now is to simply get rid of the 7. I can't add or subtract. If I add or subtract, I'm going to have to get rid of the whole thing. I just need to get rid of the 7. So I want to look and do the inverse of what they're doing. There's a multiplication between these two. So I'm going to divide both sides by 7. That's going to end up being 1. So w is going to equal 21 divided by 7 is 3. So now I looked at my solution is going to be 3. Now let's look back up here at what they give us. A, the equation has no solution. Well, we saw that it does have a solution. B, the solution to the equation is 3. That's what we came up with, but let's just go ahead and look what else they say. The solutions to the equations are 3 and 7. The equation has an infinite or many solutions. None of these make sense. The only one that works is B. Alright, number 4. On this one's very similar to number 3. It's just a matter of getting everything together. But again, I'm not going to have to work it all the way down because it's giving me somewhere in the process is what they're wanting the equivalent to. So let's look at it. 10x minus 5 plus 7x equals 15 minus 2x plus 4. Well, let's draw that line of skirmish to separate the two. Again, as I want to look at each side, on this side of that line, I can combine things with, as long as it stays on this side, I can combine things and not have to do the inverse. It's when I take it across that line of scrimmage that I have to do the inverse. So let's look. Okay, I have 10x, and then I've got 7x. 10x plus 7x, well, that's going to give me 17x. Well, the only thing left on that side is minus 5. Again, I have to look at what's in front of it. Equals. Well, on this side, I see that I have 15 minus 2x plus 4. Well, here I don't have anything that I can combine the negative 2x with, but I do have a positive 15 and a positive 4. Well, 15 plus 4 is going to give me 19. And then all I have to do is bring down minus 2x. So as I look at this and I look, okay, do I need to work any further? Well, with A, that doesn't match. B doesn't match. C doesn't match. But now D, 17x minus 5 equals 19 minus 2x. So in this case, D is going to be my solution. All right, number 5. Now this one's a little bit different. This one, there's several different ways you can look at this. It does want you to work through the problem. So we're going to take our time again. There's all kinds of ways that we can actually do this one. All right, as I look at this, the first thing I want to do is I'm actually going to rewrite this whole problem. That way I can just be a lot easier to show you the work. You have 18x plus 36 over 3 equals, and you have negative 4. Oh, messed up there a little bit. Negative 4 minus 2x. Alright, when I look at this, I'm telling you, it looks a lot more difficult than what it really is. Don't let the fact that there's some dividing in there, or fraction, if you will, mess you up. In this case, let's look at this problem just step by step. If 18x plus 36 over 3, you think as we're doing equations, we do to one side, we do to the other. Well, in this case, I can actually divide 18 divided by 3, and I'm going to get 6x. Okay, 18x divided by 3, because remember, I can multiply and divide, just can't add and subtract if they're not alike. So here now, so that one, I took care of the 18x. Now, I have 36, a positive 36. So a positive 36, when you divide that by 3, I get a positive 12. Now, what I have done is I've gotten rid of that fraction completely. It's gone. And I know some of you hate fractions. What I just did is I just got rid of it. So now, I have the other side. It's just like what we've been doing. There's not a whole lot of difference here. Using the distributive property, you have negative 4 times 4, negative 16, negative 4 times negative 2x, negative negative, plus 8x. So now it's just a matter of getting my variables together first. Now in this case, I know I always say I like to try to get to the left if I can, but in this case what I like more than getting everything to the left is I like dealing with positive numbers instead of negatives. So if I move the 6x over here, I subtract 6x, I'm going to keep a positive. If I move the 8, I'm going to go into a negative. It's not a big deal either way you want to do it. But I like to keep it positive. So in this case, if I move over the 6x, that's a positive, so I have to go negative, minus 6x, because I'm going across that line of scrimmage. Line it up over here. On this side, it leaves me 12 equals negative 16 plus 2x. So now I can start solving for my x in this case. Well, before I can do anything else to the 2, let's get rid of that 16. It's a negative 16. So I need to add 16 to that. And then, of course, when you get 12 plus 16, you're going to get 28 equals. Well, when I added 16 to this side here, I canceled that one out. So that's going to leave me 2x. Divide both sides by 2, and I know I'm running out of space here. There we go. Divide that by 2. I'm going to get 14 equals x. And then as I look up here, yes, I do have that solution. Don't let fractions mess you up. It's like what I say, the process never changes. All they do is just give you a different look. And this concludes the linear equation practice probe. Now what you need to do is make sure you go and post to the discussion board, and then you will have completed this assignment.